Welcome back to number system part 2. Let's continue. How many 4-digit numbers are divisible by 72? How many 4-digit numbers are divisible by 72? 4-digit numbers start with 1000 and end with 9999. Divisible by 72 is the question. How many number of terms divisible arithmetic progression? So the formula for number of terms is last term minus first term by common difference plus 1. This is the formula. We know that the common difference is 72. You need to find the last term before 9999 and the first term after 1000, which are divisible by 72. And that's how you get the answers. Let's see, as I already told you, 1000 divided by 72 goes one time, 72 gone, 28 left, 0 comes down, 216, that's 3 times, 64 is left. So from 1000, if you subtract 64, the remainder, you get a number which is exactly divisible by 72, but the problem is that is not a 4-digit number. When you subtract 64, it becomes 936, right? So it's not a 4-digit number. When we want a 4-digit number, at the smaller value, I already told you, you will have to add the divisor. Whatever you're dividing, you'll have to add that once, and we get the smallest number to be 1008. Similarly, to find the largest multiple of 72 in 4-digit numbers, divide 9999 by 72. Goes one time, 72, 279, 279. That goes 3 times, 216. This is 639 again. 9 comes down, right? 70, 63. So 9 times is gonna be larger. So 8 times will be enough. 8 70s is 560. 2 8s is 16. 560 and 16 is 576. 576. That's 8 times. Remainder is 63. So from 9999, you subtract 63, you're gonna get 9936 as the last number, which is divisible by 72. Once you get these two values, it's easy to find the answer. 9936 minus 1008 by 72 plus 1. This is what we'll have to calculate. See, you can either calculate this value to find the answer, that's one way, or since we have done these calculations already, we can use that logic. What is this equal to? 138, right? 138 minus, what is 1008 by 72 equal to? It's 14, not 13. 13 is for this. When subtracted, you get 13 times. You added one more 72, so it should be one more 14 plus 1. That's equal to 125. That's your answer. How many times should the keys of a typewriter be pressed to type the page numbers of a 400-page book? So there's a 400-page book in which you'll have to type the page numbers. Okay, page numbers are like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, 9, 10, 11, so on, 98, 99, 100, 101, so on, 399 and 400. So you'll have to type all these page numbers. So you'll have to find out how many times you're touching the keys of a typewriter. So if you're typing the page numbers, 1, you press the first page number, then you click on 2, the second one is done, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on, then 9 is done. For 10, what do? We click 1 and 0 as well. Okay, that's 2 times for this, 2 times for this, so on, 2 times for this, 2 times for this. For this it's 3 times, for this it's 3 times, so on, 3 times until here. So we will need to calculate all these clicks. You'll need to add up all these. All these sum is what we want. That's the answer, okay? Let's see. Let's divide them according to the number of digits. 1 to 9 are single digit numbers. 10 to 99 are 2-digit numbers. You'll have to click twice for them. 100 to 400 are 3-digit numbers. Let's see how many numbers are there and multiply. Okay. Now counting, you'll have to understand how many numbers are there from 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 numbers. How many numbers are there from 1 to 10? How many numbers are there? Not how many clicks. How many numbers are there from 1 to 10? That's 10 numbers. How many numbers are there from 10 to 20? How many numbers are there from 10 to 20? That's 11 numbers, not 10. See here, you find the difference here. The difference is 4. There are 5 numbers. The difference here is 9. There are 10 numbers. The difference is 10. So obviously there should be 11 numbers. Okay, because n is equal to last term minus first term by common difference plus 1, right? That's the formula. So that plus 1 should be done when you're taking the difference. Similarly, what's the difference here? 9 minus 1 is 8. So there will be 9 numbers. 99 minus 10 is 89. So there will be 90 numbers. 400 minus 100 is 300. So there should be 301 numbers. Single digit numbers, there are 9. For each you'll have to press once. There are 92 digit numbers. For each number you'll have to click 2 times. There are 301 3 digit numbers. For each number you'll have to click 3 times. Let's add them. This is 903 clicks. This is 180 clicks. And this is 9 clicks. So added these two, it becomes 912. 1012, 1092. That's your answer. Is it understood? You'll have to find how many numbers are there, how many single digit numbers, find into 1. Find the number of 2 digit numbers into 2 because each number you click twice. Number of 3 digit numbers into 3. And how do you find the number of numbers? You find the difference and you add 1. Clear? If we touch the keyboard 3697 times to type the page numbers of a book, how many pages does the book contain? I told you we are touching the typewriter 3697 times to type the page numbers of a book, and we'll have to find how many pages the book contains. Okay, let's see. It's same as the previous question. Only thing is we do not know the number of pages. So 1 to 9 are single digit numbers. 10 to 99 are 2 digit numbers. 100 to 999 are 3 digit numbers. And 1000 to X, because we do not know the number of pages in the book, I've taken that to be X, are 4 digit numbers. Why did I introduce 4 digit numbers is because this value is more than 3000. When you have a value more than 3000 for this kind of question, it indicates there are more than 1000 pages in that particular book. Okay, let's see. The difference here is 8. So there should be how many numbers? 9. The difference is 89. So there should be 90 numbers. The difference is 899. So there should be 900 3 digit numbers. The difference is X minus 1000 plus 1 4 digit numbers will be there. Now this should be multiplied into 1, this into 2, and this is 3 digit numbers, and this is 4 digit numbers. When you add all these, you get the answer as 3697. Okay, you know this is 9, this is 180, 2700. Find this value and then you can get the answer. Let's see. 3697 subtract 2700. You get 997. From this subtract 180. You get 817. From this subtract 9. And you get 808. So this is 808. Cancel with 4. You get 202. So X minus 1000 plus 1 is equal to 202. So X is equal to 1000 goes to the other side. That becomes 1202. Plus 1 goes to the other side, becomes minus 1. So 1201 is the answer. Is it understood? Same as the previous question. But since we do not know the page numbers, I've assumed this to be X. And the same process is done. Equate it to the final value. You will get the value of X. And that's your answer. If all 5s are replaced by 2s, then the algebraic sum of numbers from 1 to 100 both inclusive. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, 10, 11, 12, so on, 20, 51, 52, so on, 59 and 60, 91, so on, up to 100. Okay, there are 100 numbers like this. And if all the 5s are replaced by 2s, so wherever you have a 5, okay, 5, 15, 25, 55, so on, okay, so on up to 95. So wherever you have 5s, you'll have 5s in this line, and you'll also have 5s in this line. Okay, there's 50 here. So this line, okay. So you'll have to replace all the 5s by 2s. So you'll remove 5s and put 2s there. So if this 5 is removed and I put 2 there, what is happening? There is a decrease of 3, right? Instead of in 15, if I take this 5 and put 2 there, it becomes 12. From 15 to 12, there is a decrease of 3 again. So in place of 95, 5 are replaced by 2 and I get 92. There is a decrease of 3. So when 5 is replaced in the units place, there is a decrease of 3. And when 5 is replaced in the tens place, see, in place of 5, if I put 2 here, I get 21. So how much decreased? There is a decrease of 30. In place of 5 here, I put 2. I'm going to get 22. There is a decrease of 30. So whenever 5 is replaced in the tens place, there is a decrease of 30. Whenever 5 is replaced in the units place, there is a decrease of only 3. Okay, 5 is replaced by 2, there's a decrease of 3, and in the tens place it's 30. Okay, let's look at how many places are there. 5, 15, 25, so on up to 95. How many times? That's 10 times. 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, so on up to 95. That's 9 times, and 5 again. That's 10 numbers, and at every number there is a reduction of 3. So total 30 should be subtracted. Is it understood? So if you add all the numbers from 1 to 100, what is it that you get? Add all the numbers from 1 to 100. 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus, so on up to 100. You're gonna get n into n plus 1 by 2. 100 into 101 by 2. You're gonna get the value as 5050. Okay, 5050. Then here, generally if you calculate, you're going to get 5050, but all the 5s are replaced by 2s. So in the units place, you are reducing 3 for every number, and that 10 times. So 10 3s are 30 should be reduced. Similarly for tens place, 50, 51, 52, so on up to 59. How many numbers are there? 10 numbers again, 1 to 9 and 0 again. So that's 10 numbers, and when each number is replaced, there is a reduction of 30, which we already discussed. And how much should be reduced? 300. So 30 should be reduced here, 300 should be reduced here. So from 5050, let's subtract 330 and you get 4720 as the answer. This is the answer. It's an easy question. I wrote all this stuff to make you understand. Okay, if all the 5s are replaced by 2s, this is what happens, because there is a reduction. You'll have to find the places where they're being reduced or changes are being made. Accordingly, you'll have to reduce, because 5s are replaced by 2s, it will reduce. If 2s are replaced by 5s, it will increase. Then you'll have to add to 5050. Is that understood? Good. Let's look at the next one. Okay, there are 3 questions, and these 3 questions are based on the formula 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus so on up to n is equal to n into n plus 1 by 2. We will be using this formula only for these 3 questions. So let's look at the first one. We'll solve one after another. Let's look at the first question. Okay. Find the 217th term of the following series. Find the 217th term of the following series. That's a, comma, b, comma, b, comma, c, comma, c, comma, c, comma, d, comma, d, comma, d, comma, d, comma. What comes next? E, comma, e, comma, e, comma, e, comma, e. So 5 e's, then you get 6 f's and so on. Okay. I want you to find the 217th term of the series. So this is the question. A is the first letter. and there's 1A. Okay. B is the second letter. Where does it end? Which term does B end? 1, 2, 3. B ends at the third term. C is the third letter. C is the third letter, and it ends at which term? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth term. D is the fourth letter. It ends at which term? The 10th term. See, how do we get this? A is the first letter, obviously there will be 1. B is the third letter. B ends at the third letter because 1A and 2 B's should be there. C ends at the sixth letter because 1A, 2 B's and 3 C should be there, and only then it ends. D is the fourth letter, and so 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. It ends at the 10th place. Okay. If you go on like that, the nth letter will end at 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus so on up to n, which is nothing but n into n plus 1 by 2. Is it understood? See, I am making them into sets, perfect sets. Okay. A is a set. This is a set. This is a set. This is a set. So like that, let's find out how many sets are completed. For example, if 3 sets are completed, obviously the next one is a D. If 5 sets are completed, the next answer should be an F. So let's find out how many sets are completed, and then we'll get our answer easily. I am writing all this stuff to make you understand. You're not going to write that while solving a problem, okay? This is just to make you understand. So let's see. When you calculate like that, the nth letter should end at n into n plus 1 by 2. So n into n plus 1 by 2 should be somewhere near to 217. It will not be equal, because in this series the fourth term is C, the fifth term is C, and the sixth term is also C. But when you calculate n into n plus 1 by 2, you only get 6. Okay, so we will find how many sets are completed by finding n into n plus 1 by 2 almost equal to 217. It should not cross 217. Okay, let's solve this. So n into n plus 1 is almost equal to 434. So n square plus n should be almost equal to 434. Now tell me a square number before 434. A square number before 434. 21 square is 441. So 20 square is 400 plus 20 is 420, which is less than 434. So the largest possible value of n satisfying the condition is 20. The largest possible value of n satisfying the condition is 20. So that indicates 1A, 2 B's, 3 C's, so on 20 sets are completed. So what is the 20th letter? It's T. 20 sets. So 1A, 2 B's, 3 C's, 4 D's, so on 20 T's are completed. So next comes what? U, and that will be your answer. Is it understood? See, again, I'm solving it again. Or let's take an example. One more. I'll get back to that page. Don't worry. If I ask you to find the 165th term, what you'll do is n into n plus 1 by 2 almost equal to 165 should be calculated. Then n square plus n almost equal to 330. Now tell me a square number before 330. 18 square is 324, but 18 square 324 plus 18 is crossing 330. So 18 is not possible. So what is possible? N is 17 is possible. 17 is the largest possible value of n satisfying the condition. So from 1A, 2B's, 3C's, so on, 17 Q's, 17 letters Q are done. So what is the answer? R. Okay, because if you want, I can calculate it for you. 17 into 18 by 2. This goes 9 times. 90 and 63, that's 153. So until the 153rd term, you get Q's only. So Q ends at 153rd term. After that, you get 18 R's. So obviously, if you add 18, okay, until the 171st term, you'll get R's only. So once you get an value as 17, which is Q, obviously the next letter R should be the answer. So only 2 steps to find the answer. Similarly, that's what we are doing here. N into n plus 1 by 2 almost equal to 217. We are finding the largest value of n satisfying the condition, and we have got it as 20, which indicates that up to 20 letters are done. So the 21st letter U is the answer. See, look at this question. There are 500 parking slots in a mall. 500 parking slots in a mall filled with 500 vehicles. Okay. Bikes and cars are parked in such a way that there is one bike after the first car. So first there is a car and there is one bike. 2 bikes after the second car. Then there is another car and there are 2 bikes. 3 bikes after the third car. There is another third car and there are 3 bikes. And it goes on like this. And total cars and bikes together is 500. Okay. We need to find the number of cars. That's the question. I'll give you a moment to digest the question. Okay. There are 500 parking slots in a mall filled with 500 vehicles. That's bikes and cars together is 500. Bikes and cars are parked in such a way that there is one bike after the first car, 2 bikes after the second car, 3 bikes after the third car, and so on. So car, bike, bike, car, bike, bike, bike. It goes on like that. Total 500 vehicles are there. Now you are supposed to find the number of cars. Try it out. Say it's similar to the previous question. Just assume this is one set, this is one set, this is one set, so on. Find the number of sets completed so that it will be easier for you to find the number of cars. Because in each set there is one car, right? Find the number of sets so that it will be easier for us to find the number of cars. That's the logic. It's just a hint for you. Okay. See, I'll help you out. Cars, bikes. Assume there's one car. How many bikes are there? 1. Assume there are 2 cars. How many bikes would be there? 1 plus 2, because there's one bike after the first car and 2 bikes after the second car. Assume there are 3 cars. Then the number of bikes would be 1 plus 2 plus 3. 1 bike after the first car, 2 bikes after the second car, 3 bikes after the third car. So on. If you assume there are n cars, the number of bikes would be n into n plus 1 by 2. Is that right? Now cars and bikes together is 500. So n plus n into n plus 1 by 2. Cars and bikes together is almost equal to 500. It will not be exactly equal because we are finding the number of sets. We have to find the largest possible value of n satisfying the condition to get the answer. So this becomes n square plus 3n. 2 goes to the other side and that's almost equal to 1000. Okay. Oh, sorry, this is 3n. That's almost equal to 1000. So n square plus 3n is almost equal to 1000. Tell me a perfect square number less than 1000. 31 square is 961. 31 square is 961. But if you take n as 31, 961 plus 3n is 331s, which is 93. So 961 plus 93 is crossing 1000. So 31 is not possible. Let's check for 30. 30 square is 900 and 3 30s is 90. So 990 is less than 1000. So n equals to 30 is correct. So it indicates that there are 30 completed sets. So 1 car, 1 bike, 1 set. 1 car, 2 bikes, 1 set. 1 car, 3 bikes, 1 set. So on. 30 sets are completed. And then comes what? Car and 30 bikes are there. And then what comes next? Another car comes. So your answer is 31. Is that understood? We have got the value as 30 completed sets. But 30 completed sets is not exactly equal to 500. Okay. So there are some more vehicles after 30 sets also. So 30 sets are done. And what comes after 30 sets? A car. So obviously there are 31 cars. That's the answer. 31. Is it understood? I wrote all this for your understanding. You'll only solve this. Okay. The next question. This is an easy one, but the question seems tough. Look at the question now. Numbers from 1 to 100 are written on a board. A student selects any two numbers, say A and B, erases them and writes A plus B minus 1. So 1 to 100 numbers are written on the board. A student selects any two numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've taken only 5 numbers so that it will be easier for you to understand. So a student selects any two numbers, erases them. Let's select 2 and 4. Erase them, or I'll cancel them so that it will be easier for us to understand. 2 and 4 are erased. And you write what? A plus B minus 1. 2 plus 4 minus 1 is 5. Now out of 1, 3, 5 and 5, you'll have to select any two numbers again. So let's select 3 and 5. Erase them and write A plus B minus 1, which is 7. Now out of these three numbers, you select any two numbers, 1 and 5. A plus B minus 1 is 5. Now these two numbers, 5 and 7, A plus B minus 1 is 11. That's how you get the answer. Okay, that is the meaning of the question. So numbers from 1 to 100 are written on the board. A student selects any two numbers, say A and B, erases them and writes A plus B minus 1. So out of 100 numbers, if 2 are erased and 1 number is written again, now there will be 99 numbers. Out of 100, there will be 99 numbers. Another student comes, selects any two numbers from the board, erases them and writes A plus B minus 1. Another student erases two numbers and writes one number, so there are 98 numbers now. If the process is repeated, there will be 97, then 96, so on. Finally, there will be one number left on the board and we need to find that last number. That's the meaning of the question. Is the meaning of the question understood? So, if students keep coming and doing the same process, erasing two numbers and writing one number, there's a reduction of one number every time. So finally, there's one number left on the board and we need to find that. Okay, this is the meaning of the question. Now, any student, when they are coming out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're selecting any two numbers, adding them up and subtracting 1. This subtracting 1, we'll look into that later. At the last, we'll see. Minus 1, we'll see at the last. So basically what they're doing is they're selecting two numbers and adding them up. So 2 plus 4 is what? 6. Now 6 plus 3, I'm selecting these two numbers, is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. 14 plus 1, 15. So basically you can select the numbers, two numbers in any order. You can select 1, 2 first or 1, 3, 1, 4, anything. But still finally it comes down to the sum of all the numbers. See, we had taken 1 to 5 and we got the sum as 15. Okay, minus 1 is not yet done. We'll do that at the last. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we took it. We got the sum. Similarly, when 100 numbers are there and you select any two numbers and add them up in any order, obviously, finally, you get the sum as 1 to 100. What's the sum? 50, 50. We already calculated that in the previous questions. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus so on up to 100. That's equal to n into n plus 1 by 2. 100 into 101 by 2, which is 5050. So adding all the numbers, you get 5050. Now, what did we forget? We forgot minus 1. See, from 100 numbers, only one number is left. So the operation is done how many times? 99 times. Is that understood? Every time an operation is being done, one number is eliminated. So from 100, if you want one number left, the operation should be done 99 times. So 99 times minus 1 should be subtracted. That will be minus 999. 4951 is the answer. Is it understood? When you select two numbers, you get the sum of all the numbers when you're adding them up. But you have done the operation 99 times. So 99 times minus 1 should be subtracted. So that's minus 99 from the sum of 100 numbers. You get the answer as 4951. That's the answer. Note. These are points to be noted. Any prime number greater than 3 can be written in the form of 6k minus 1 or 6k plus 1. This is just a basic question here. That's the reason I've given it to you. Any prime number greater than 3. See, every prime greater than 3 will definitely be odd. You know that, right? So any prime number greater than 3 will be an odd number. So prime number. So before that you get p minus 1 and after that you get p plus 1. This is an even number, this is an even number, and this is an odd number. Prime is odd, this is even, and this is even. These are three continuous numbers, consecutive numbers. When you take three consecutive numbers, one of them should be divisible by 3. Similarly, when you take 4 numbers continuously, one of them should be divisible by 4. So these 3 numbers, when you take them consecutively, one of the numbers should be divisible by 3, and because p is prime, this is not divisible by 3. So the first number can be divisible by 3 or the last number can be divisible by 3. If the first number is divisible by 3, it's an even number and divisible by 3, it indicates this is definitely divisible by 6, or which can be written as 6k, and prime number will be 6k plus 1. In case the last number is divisible by 3, it is even and it's divisible by 3. So this is divisible by 6. So it can be written as 6k. Then the prime will be 6k minus 1. So prime numbers are always beside a number divisible by 6. That's what you'll have to understand. So from this we understand, if a prime is divided by 6, then remainder can be 1 or 5. Is it understood? Because the prime number is beside a number divisible by 6, the remainder when a prime is divided by 6 can be 1 or 5. This is the first point. Then look at the second point. X power n minus y power n is divisible by x minus y when n is a natural number. X power n minus y power n is divisible by x minus y when n is a natural number. See, x minus y, x square minus y square, x cube minus y cube, x minus y. This is divisible. This divides. X square minus y square is x plus y into x minus y, cancels. X cube minus y cube is x minus y into something, right? So this is also divisible. So when n is a natural number, they are divisible. Let's talk about x plus y. See, x minus y is not divisible by x plus y. For this, it's not. X square minus y square is divisible by x plus y because this is x minus y into x plus y. X cube minus y square is not divisible. If you take x power 4 minus y power 4, that is divisible because this can be written as x square minus y square into x square plus y square. And this again can be written as x plus y into x minus y. So for even numbers, it's being divisible. So x power n minus y power n is divisible by x plus y when n is an even natural number. That's the other point. Then let's talk about x plus y. Now x plus y, it's divisible. X square plus y square by x plus y, not divisible. X cube plus y cube by x plus y, divisible. So it's being divisible for odd numbers and not for even numbers. So x power n plus y power n is divisible by x plus y when n is an odd natural number. When the power is odd, it is divisible. This is what the points in the note tell you. Okay. Then look at the other formula given below. Constant of 1 is n. Sigma of 1 is n. 1 is a constant. Okay. Sigma of 1 is n. See, 1, 1, 1, 1. You add 5 times. What's the value? 5. When you're adding it 5 times, the answer is 5. Okay. So that's the formula. And then sum of n terms is equal to sigma Tn. For example, if I tell you that nth term of a series is 2n minus 3. If I tell you some nth term of a series is 2n minus 3, and I'll ask you to find the sum of 10 terms. So when you put n equals to 1, you get the first term. You put n equals to 2, you get the second term. You put n equals to 3, you get the third term. It goes on like that up to 10. So you'll have to find all the 10 terms and then add them up to get sum of 10 terms. But rather, it will be easier like this. Sum of n is equal to sigma 2n minus 3. So that's equal to 2 sigma n minus 3 sigma 1. That's equal to 2. What's the formula for sigma n? N into n plus 1 by 2 minus 3 sigma 1 is n. If you substitute 10 in place of this, you will get the value of S10. That's easier. So when nth term is given, to find the sum of n terms, you will apply sigma to the nth term. That's the formula. Then, if nth term is given like this, or if the sum of n terms is given like this, 2x cube minus 3x square plus 5x plus 7. And I'll ask you to find the fifth term. I'll ask you to find the fifth term. This is a question. Sum of n terms is 2n cube minus 3n square plus 5n plus 7. What is the fifth term is the question. First, what we'll have to do, you'll have to substitute n equals to 1 and you'll get the first term. You substitute n equals to 2, you'll get the sum of the first two terms, from which you'll have to subtract the first term which we already calculated. You put n equals to 1, you get the first term. When you put n equals to 2, you get sum of two terms, right? T1 plus T2 is what you get. When you put n equals to 2 in Sn, out of this T1 you already know, you substitute that, you will get the value of T2. You put n equals to 3, you're going to get the sum of the first three terms. Subtract T1 and T2, you'll get the third term. It goes on, which is confusing and it takes a lot of time. So when you want nth term, Sn minus 1 should be done. So you take the sum of 5 terms and subtract the sum of 4 terms. So T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus T4 plus T5 minus T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus T4. Obviously you'll be left with T5. So that's what I wrote here. Tn is equal to Sn minus 1. How many of the following numbers are factors of 3 power 24 minus 2 power 24? See, there's a particular logic that I'm trying to explain to you in this question, okay? 3 power 24 minus 2 power 24. The logic in this question that you need to understand is the different ways of representing a particular value. You have to focus on the different ways of representing. See, if this is the case, x power n minus y power n is divisible by x minus y when n is a natural number. It's divisible by x plus y when n is an even natural number. X power n minus y power n is divisible by x minus y when n is a natural number, is divisible by x plus y when n is an even natural number. So it's divisible by 1 and 5. Just because this particular number is divisible by 5, it is divisible by 5, does not mean it's divisible by 30, 35, 50, 60, etc. If a number is divisible by 30, it will be divisible by 5. But if a number is divisible by 5, it need not be divisible by 30. Okay. So you can't mark all these and find the answer. So the different ways of representations are 3 square power 12 minus 2 square power 12. Can I write it like this? 3 power 24 minus 2 power 24 can be written as 3 square power 12 minus 2 square power 12, which will be equal to 9 power 12 minus 4 power 12. That's equal to, see. Now x power n minus y power n is divisible by x minus y and x plus 5 when n is an even natural number. 12 is even, right? So it should be divisible by 13 also. 10. It's divisible by 5, it's divisible by 13. Then next, 3 cube power 8 minus 2 cube power 8. That's 27 power 8 minus 8 power 8. Okay. So x power n minus y power n is divisible by x minus 5 when n is a natural number. 8 is natural number, so it should be divisible by 19. It should be divisible by x plus y 35 because the power is an even natural number. Then 3 power 4 power 6 minus 2 power 4 power 6. That's 3 power 4 is 81 power 6 minus 2 power 4 is 16 power 6. So it should be divisible by x minus y 65 and x plus y 97. Okay, because 6 is an even natural number. Now you can't take any further because 3 power 5 is 243. 2 power 5 is 32. So even if you subtract or add, you have only numbers till 100. So this is not useful, or you need not write that. So if you observe now, 5 is divisible, 13 is divisible, 19 is divisible, 35 is divisible, 65 is divisible. How many are there? 5. That's your answer. So how many of the following numbers are factors of 3 power 24 minus 2 power 24? It's 5. How did we get them? By being able to write the same exponential value in different forms by breaking up the powers. Okay, that's the logic to this question. That's what you'll have to understand and remember. Square roots and cube roots. Now it's important to be able to find square roots and cube roots of numbers. So let's talk about that first. Now before we actually talk about square roots and cube roots, there are some calculations that you need to learn, and you'll also have to understand squares and cubes. You should know squares and cubes of numbers. Okay, consider this as your homework. I want you to by heart squares up to 30 and cubes up to 15. squares up to 30 and cubes up to 15, you'll have to by heart them. Now, as I already told you, certain calculations should be learned before we find out how to find square roots and cube roots. 25 into 25, 35 into 35, 75 into 75, 67 into 63, 42 into 48. Now, what is common to these questions is they are in the form of AB into AC, where B plus C is equal to 10. See, the same tens digit everywhere, the same tens digit. 2 plus 8 is 6, 2 plus 8 is 10, 7 plus 3 is 10, 5 plus 5 is 10, 5 plus 5 is 10, 5 plus 5 is 10. So they are in the form of AB into AC, where B plus C is equal to 10. Then, how do we find these values? First, what you'll have to do is 2, what's the next number? 3. 2 3s are 6. 3, what's the next number? 4. 3 4s are 12. 7, what's the next number? 8. 7 8s are 56. 6, what's the next number? 6 7s are 42. 4, what's the next number? 5. 4 5s are 20. Once this is done, 2 8s are 16, 3 7s are 21, 5 5s are 25, 5 5s are 25, 5 5s are 25. So, what did we get as the answer? First, you are taking A into A plus 1, and then you are multiplying BC on the other side. A 2 into A plus 1, 3 gives you 6. B into C, 25. 3 into next number A plus 1, 4. 3 4s are 12. B into C, 25. Let's learn square roots. Let's take some numbers which are perfect squares. 4 4 8 9. 841, 8649, 6724. Now square is power what? Power 2, right? So from the right hand side, after 2 places take a bar. From the right hand side, after 2 places take a bar. Okay. Now before finding the answers, there's something that you need to understand. What's 1 square? 1. 2 square is 4. 3 square is 9. 4 square is 16. I'm only writing the last digit. 5 square is 25. 6 square is 36. 7 square is 49. 8 square is 64. 9 square is 81. I'm only writing the units digits. If you observe carefully, these are same. So on either side of 5, you have repetitions, but they are on either side, which we will be using for our advantage. Okay, let's see how to find the square roots. Starting from the right hand side, you will have to take, after 2 digits you take a bar. Okay, after 2 digits you take a bar. Even for larger numbers also you do the same thing. For example, I'll take one more example. 1 3 4 5 6. After 2 places you take a bar. Okay, then tell me a perfect square number less than 44. 6 square 36, less than 8. 2 square 4, less than 8 is 2 square 4, less than 86 is 9 square, less than 64. 8 square, less than 134. 11 square is 121. 13 square is 144, it's crossing it. Sorry, 12 square is 144, it's crossing it. So 11 square, 121 will be the value. So before this, you will have to find a perfect square number before these values and you get the tens place. Then let's talk about the units place. Which number squared gives you 9 at the end? Which number when squared gives you 9 at the end. There will be two possibilities, 3 and 7. So answer is 63 or 67. We are not sure. We'll find that later. Which number squared gives you 1 at the last? 1 or 9. So the answer can be 21 or 29. Which number squared gives you 9 at the last? 3 or 7. So the answer is 93 or 97. We'll find that later. Which number when squared gives you 4 at the last? 2 or 8. So answer is 82 or 88. Which number squared gives you 6 at the last? 4 or 6. The answer is 114 or 116. Now let's find out. I already taught you how to find 65 into 65. You know how to calculate 65 into 65? In the previous page I gave you the method. So 6, what's the next number? 7. 6 sevens are 42. 5 fives are 25. So we understand that 65 square is 4225. Now 4489 is more than that, so it cannot be 63. The answer should be 67 only. Is that understood? How I have finalized it? Okay. Let's see. Look at the next one. We know that the answer is 21 or 29. So let's calculate 25 into 25. So 2 next number is 3. 2 3s are 6 and 25 is what we get. 841 is more than 625. So your answer is 29. Here 95 into 95. 9 next number is 10. So 9 tens are 90 and 5 fives are 25. 8649 is less than 95 square. So it should be 93. That's your answer. Similarly, for the remaining two problems as well, you can solve that, or I'll solve the last one for you. 115 into 115. 11 next number is 12. 11 12s are 132 25 is the answer. 134 56 is what's given here. So it should be more than 115 square. So the answer is 116 here. Similarly, here it's 85 into 85. 8 9s are 72 25. It's lesser. So the answer is 82. Is that understood? So from the right hand side, after two places, you will put a bar, and left side of the bar, by finding the square root below that, perfect square number beneath that, you can find the tens digit. By looking at the units digit, you will have two possibilities of the units place. You will calculate this shortcut that I gave you to be able to determine which of them is the answer. See, same as the previous problem. Let's take some numbers. 474 552 39304 551 368. Okay. Before we actually find cube roots, we need to know the cubes of numbers. So 1 cube is 1. 2 cube is 8. 3 cube is 27. 4 cube is 64. 5 cube is 125. 6 cube is 216. 7 cube is 343. 8 cube is 512. 9 cube is 729. 10 cube is 1000. Okay, is that understood? Now see, if you observe, everything is unique. You don't have repetitions anywhere. 1 cube 1, 2 you've got 8, and for 8 you've got units digit as 2. For 3 you've got 7, and for 7 you've got 3. For 4 you got 4, 5 you got 5, 6 you got 6, 9 you got 9, 0 you got 0. So there are no repetitions, which makes finding cube roots easy. Cube is power 3, right? So from the right hand side, after 3 places take a bar. After 3 places we take a bar. Okay. Once we take a bar, tell me a perfect cube number less than 474. Perfect cube less than 474. That's 7, 343, because 512 is larger. Perfect cube number below 39. That's 3 cube. Perfect cube number beneath 551. That's 8. Which number when cubed gives you 2 at the last? 8. 8 cube, you get 2 at the last. Which number when cubed gives you 4 at the last? 4. Which number when cubed gives you 8 at the last? 2. These are your answers. Division. Now, what do you mean by division? You divide the dividend by the divisor, you get the quotient, what's left is the remainder. When you write that in the form of an equation, you get dividend is equal to divisor into quotient in brackets plus remainder. A number leaves a remainder of 73 when divided by 155. When divided by 155, a number leaves a remainder of 73. This is the statement. When divided by 155, it leaves a remainder of 73. What will be the remainder when the same number is divided by 31 and 32? So this number is important to us because we'll have to divide this number by 31 and 32. Because this number is important, I'll assume the quotient to be Q. Because the number is important, you'll have to assume the quotient to be Q. Now what is the number? The number is 155Q plus 73 according to our formula. Divisor into quotient plus remainder. This is the number. I'm writing the number again. 155Q plus 73. Okay. Now this number should be divided by 31 and it should be divided by 32. Now why am I writing separately? Because x plus y by a is equal to x by a plus y by a, right? So even if you combine and divide or you separate and divide, it doesn't change. So I wrote it like this. Now tell me, how many times does 31 go into 155? It goes 5 times. It's exactly divisible. So irrespective of the value of q, you'll be able to get the remainder here at 0. Because it's exactly divisible, remainder is 0. The value of q is not important. Even if it's 1, 2, 3, 4 or any other value, the remainder in this part is 0. 73, 31 goes 2 times. 62 is gone. How much is left? 11. So you get 11 as the answer to the first question. When it's divided by 31, the answer is 11. Is that understood? Because this is divisible, the remainder is 0. When you divide this, you got 11 as the remainder. So that's the answer. Then look at this. 155Q divided by 32. Now here 32 will not divide 155. Because 155 is not divisible by 32, you have to understand there will be a remainder left. Now that remainder left will depend on the value of q. If q is 1, you'll have some remainder. If q is 2, you'll have some other remainder. If q is 3, you'll have some other remainder. So the remainder will change according to the value of q, which is not given in the question. So for this particular problem, the answer is can't be determined. The answer is can't be determined. But in the previous problem, irrespective of the value of q, you're able to find the answer because the number is divisible by the divisor. Okay. Here, because it's not divisible, you cannot find the answer without knowing the exact remainder because the remainder changes according to the value of q. So the answer is cannot be determined. 240 divisible by 48. Yes or no? It is divisible. 48 5s is 240. Because it's divisible, you will divide 98 by 48. 48 goes 2 times, 96 gone. How much is left? 2. That's your answer. Now 240, when you divide by 50, it's not divisible. When something is not divisible, what's the answer? Can't be determined. See, when you understand the problem, it's easy getting answers. When you get answers faster, you'll save some time because obviously for every competitive exam, time is the most crucial factor. And you'll have to look for ways to save time. Okay. This question is understood? Good. Next one. Successive division. There's something called successive division that you'll have to understand. For example, I have 125 chocolates with me. I will have to divide these 125 chocolates among 3 sections ABC. 3 sections ABC. How many chocolates will each section get? If I have to divide equally, 41, 41, 41, 2 are left. We'll look into that later. Now every section there are boys and girls. Every section there are boys and girls. You'll have to divide equally. So how many does each get? 20, 20, 20, 20. 1 is left, 1 is left, 1 is left. Okay. Did you understand? 125 chocolates are divided among 3 sections. And each section again 2 parts, boys and girls, we're dividing them. See, 125 is first divided by what? 3. And what did you get as the value? 41, 123, the remainder is 2. Next, you have divided into boys and girls. How many batches? 2 batches. What did you divide? You divided 41 and you have got 20 for each batch. So that's 40 and you have got one remainder. Now this is called successive division, where the quotient of the previous division becomes the dividend of the next division. Quotient of the previous division is equal to dividend of the next division. Is that understood? General division means you will divide 125 by 3. Again you will divide 125 only by 2 batches boys and girls. 125 by 2. That is general division, where you always divide the same number. But here successive division indicates the quotient of the previous division becomes the dividend of the next division. Okay, this is successive division. Find the least natural number that leaves respective remainders of 2, 3, 5 when successively divided by 4, 6, 8. You'll have to find the least natural number. There is a particular number. Okay, this is our answer. Divided by 4, the remainder is 2. Divided by 6, the remainder is 3. Divided by 8, the remainder is 5. Okay. Now, there's something that you need to understand. These are successively divided. When things are successively divided, as I already told you, the quotient of the previous division becomes the dividend of the next division. The quotient of the previous division becomes the dividend of the next division. Okay. Now, we know that this is our answer. This is our answer. This is the number that we'll have to find out. To get this number, we will need this quotient. This quotient is the dividend here. To get this number, we will need this quotient. And this quotient is the dividend here. So, once we know the last quotient, we will be able to work our way backwards and get the answers. He asked us to find the least natural number. So, the least value for a quotient is 1. So, you'll take the last quotient to be 1. 8 ones are 8. From what, if you subtract 8, you get 5? 13. So 13 goes here. 6 13s is 78. From this number, if you subtract 78, you get 3. So this number should be 81. So obviously this is 81. 4 81s is 324. Okay. Then from what number you subtract 324, you get 2? 326. So 326 is your answer. Is that understood? I'm telling you again. Successively divided by 4, 6, 8. The remainders are 2, 3, 5. We wrote them. We want this value because that's our answer. For this, you need this quotient, which is the dividend here. You need this quotient, which is the dividend here. Since he asked us to find the least natural number, you'll assume the last quotient to be 1 and work your way backwards so that you'll get the answer to the question. Clear? Recurring decimal. See, what is the value of 1 by 3? Recurring is nothing but repeating. What's the value of 1 by 3? 0.3333 so on, which is denoted as 0.3 bar. What's the value of 1 by 6? That's 0.1666 so on, which is denoted as 0.16 bar only on 6 because that's the only thing which is being repeated. Now if I ask you to find 100 by 7, okay, I'm solving that here. 100 divided by 7. 1, goes 1 time, 3, 0, 4 times, 2, you put a point here, you take another 0, 2, 14, 6, 0, 8, 56, 4, 0, 5, 35, 5, 0, 7, 49, 1, 0, 1, 7, 3, 0, 4, 2, 8, 2, 0, 2, and that's where you stop. After the decimal point, you will have to look for repetitions after decimal point. Look for repetitions after decimal point and then you stop. So this is 14.2857114. Again you got 2, so from here to here you put a bar. You will not write 2 again. There will not be any repetitions when you're putting a bar. In the decimals there should not be any repetitions. In case you get 14.2857157 so on. Because 5 is repeated here, from this 5 you will start and up to this 5 you will put a bar. Then your value would be 14.28571 and bar only on 571. Is it understood? So after the decimal point, from the place where whichever digit is repeated, from that place you will start. So from after the decimal point, whichever place is repeated, from that you will start until that point, and that's how you get a bar. Here after the decimal you've got 5 repeated, so from 5 you start until 5, then you put a bar, and that's the value you get. I hope the example is understood. Clear? Now we'll find the reverse. If I give you something like 32.674 bar on 674, 32.674 bar only on 74, 32.674 bar only on 4, 0.3 bar. Just taking the value which we already know so that we can compare our method, no? Okay. Now we will have to convert this into P by Q form. You'll have to convert these fractions into P by Q form. Okay. To convert the fractions into P by Q form, P by Q, you'll need a numerator and denominator. Okay. To find the numerator, you will take the whole number. The whole number means without the decimal points and bars, and subtract the non-recurring part. Recurring is the part which is getting repeated. Non-recurring is the part which doesn't get repeated. So 32674 is the whole number minus the non-recurring part is 32. 674 is being repeated, that's neglected. Here 32674 minus 74 is being repeated, so 326. 32674 minus 3267. Good. Here 3 minus non-recurring is 0. These are the numerators. Once you get the numerators, let's find the denominators. Denominators, this is after the decimal point. Okay. After the decimal point, you'll have to see how many digits have a bar, and you'll have to put those many 9s. And you'll have to see how many digits does not have a bar. Okay. So no bar, I'm crossing it off. You'll have to put that many zeros. Where? After the decimal point. Tell me, in the first question after the decimal point, how many digits have a bar? There are 3 digits with a bar, so it will be 3 9s. Second question. After the decimal point, how many digits have a bar? 2 digits with a bar, that's 2 9s. And there's 1 digit without a bar, so 1 0. Here, after the decimal point, you have 1 digit with a bar, that's 1 9. 2 digits without a bar, that's 2 zeros. Okay. After the decimal point, you have 1 digit with a bar over it, so that's 9. Clear? See, 3 by 9 is correct. All these values are correct. But 3 by 9 will not be there in the options. Why? Because you can simplify it further to 1 by 3. Similarly, all these are correct only, but you will have to simplify them further till they match your option. Watch the remaining in part 3.